These are the biggest rivalries in MMA history, and we're kicking things off with my absolute favorite, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. Could there really be a bigger rivalry? At UFC 229, they didn't just fight, they shattered every record in the book, with 2.4 million pay-per-view buys. But it wasn't just about who was the better fighter. This feud ran far deeper, diving into religion, nationality, family, and pride.
Talk to him, man. Ali Abdulaziz, my parents. You as well, you got rap. I know a lot about you as well.
Conor used every chance he got to insult Khabib, crossing lines we hadn't seen crossed in the UFC before. And when they finally met, Khabib didn't just beat him, he mauled him. But the most shocking moment came after the fight, when the usually composed and respectful Khabib completely lost control, leaping into the crowd and sparking one of the wildest post-fight brawls in combat sports history. That night, he out-notorious Ed the Notorious himself.
Oh, and now Khabib jumps the fence. Whoa! No! And he's going right at Dylan Dennis. Mayhem! Oh, no! Oh! And now one of Nurmagomedov's teammates throws a right hand at Conor. All hell has broken loose!
Even today, if those two came within shouting distance of each other, security better be on standby. What do you think? Is it the greatest UFC rivalry of all time? Now, let's rewind to a heavyweight showdown. Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos. Their first meeting? Historic. It was the main event on the UFC's first broadcast on Fox, and fans were hyped. But the fight didn't last long, about 60 seconds to be exact. Cain came in with an injury, and JDS took full advantage, cracking him with a shot that ended the fight and snatched the title. With that kind of drama, of course a rematch had to happen, and when it did, Cain came back with pure vengeance, putting on one of the most dominant beatdowns in UFC history. He landed 210 strikes and even broke Junior's jaw.
He could have stopped that fight whenever he wanted to. I heard that Junior broke his jaw in the second round.
But wait, JDS, being the warrior he is, came back for a third fight. And you'd think Cain couldn't top his previous performance, yet somehow he did. This time, 50 more strikes, and it ended with a vicious slam and TKO.
By the end of the first round, going into the second, his face was already starting to look different.
One-sided or not, this was an all-out war across 3 epic chapters. Fast forward to recent years, and you can't talk rivalries without bringing up Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya. Picture this. Izzy, the flashy striker and UFC champ, facing a man who literally haunted him from his kickboxing past. Alex Pereira, the only guy to have knocked out Adesanya in their prior kickboxing encounters, enters the UFC with one goal, to hunt Izzy down. And boy, did he make quick work of the rankings. 3 wins, and suddenly, they're face-to-face again, this time in the UFC octagon. Their first MMA fight felt like déjà vu, Izzy controlling most of it until Pereira, like some boss-level video game character, pulled out a comeback KO in the final round. But the rematch? That was Adesanya's redemption. He baited Pereira into overcommitting, countered with pinpoint precision, and shut his lights out in brutal fashion. Talk about flipping the script. Of course, you can't forget Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier. This one is personal. It started long before they ever fought, with a tense backstage encounter where Jon casually told an Olympic wrestler he could take him down. Bold.
There's nothing you can do to stop me, Daniel Cormier. You will lose this fight, Daniel Cormier. I want you to believe it.
Their first fight? A 5-round chess match where Jones slowly broke Cormier down. Fans knew they had to run it back, but delays and cancellations only added fuel to the fire. Finally, when they met again, it wasn't a close battle. It was pure destruction. Jones landed a clean head kick, and Cormier crumpled. The ground and pound that followed looked like something out of a horror movie. But just when you thought it was over, it wasn't, because that win was overturned after Jones tested positive for Turinabol. Technicalities aside, the rivalry remains unforgettable. If Jon's involved, chances are someone's legacy is on the line, and usually ends up shattered. Now, let's revisit a rivalry that had some real emotional swings. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. In their first meeting, McGregor was peak Mystic Mac,
This is McGregor's test. Is he top 5? Is he a top contender?
playing mental games
Dustin thinks it's all talk. But when he wakes up with his nose plastered on the other side of his face, he's gonna know it's not all talk.
and knocking Poirier out in the first round. Classic McGregor. But time passed, and when they met again, something had shifted. Conor was polite? Respectful? Yeah, it was weird. But Poirier wasn't in the mood for small talk. He knocked McGregor out and leveled the score. And just when we were ready for the decider, fate stepped in. In their trilogy fight, McGregor suffered a freak leg break that ended the fight before it really got going. Not the most satisfying conclusion, but still a rivalry packed with drama, trash talk, and brutal finishes. It also showed how quickly fortunes can flip in this sport, and how a good storyline sometimes ends with a limp, not a bang.